brothers out of Michigan is that the brothers in Michigan don't hide how they feel. And Travis was always transparent with me in my quest as I was seeking to become general president. And I really want to start there, right? It's a quest. Lifelong quests begin at that initial stage. And I want to, as we talk about celebrating success, let's start with where I first failed to celebrate my own success. It was on my graduation. I actually graduated on my birthday. Most people don't know that. I graduated on my birthday, Brother Graham, and from there I had the opportunity to think about all the things that I accomplished. But the first thing I thought about, instead of celebrating my graduation, was worrying about my first job. I didn't take the time to appreciate the 4 years that I had contributed and continued to work through as a student at Syracuse University. I didn't celebrate that moment. And then I was initiated into Alpha Phi Alpha via the Zeta Zeta Lambda chapter in spring of 1998, but I didn't get to celebrate that moment either. I was always focused on the next step, and I was worried about what would that look like for me in the future of this fraternity. Where was I going as a brother? And so I let my dean talk me into, Brother Graham, I never told this story, so I'll share it with you. I let my dean talk me into running for district secretary at my first district conference in New York. Brother Gilmore, what most don't realize is that I was ineligible to run, and I didn't know that. And I had spent money printing paraphernalia, getting stuff ready to run for district secretary because I didn't know any better. I thought I had to do this whole elaborate campaign, and I wasted about $400. And and for me, $400 when I was coming out of college making $40,000 at Accenture, back in those days, that was good money. But $400 was still a lot of money back then. It's $400 a lot of money right now. But what we found out was that we never took the time to celebrate even becoming an alpha, right? Because we were always on the grind, on the move, always moving forward. And the next big thing came about. I was elected chapter secretary. I thought that would be the highlight of my life, Brother Baker, and my alpha life. I enjoyed partying. I enjoyed women to my own detriment, Brother Green, and I enjoyed a good time in general. But that wasn't what was the driver of my inspiration to be in the House of Alpha. And so I went from chapter secretary to doing work with other chapters. Being a brother is the biggest thing that I can celebrate today. That's my biggest accomplishment. Bonding with other brothers outside of my chapters, going on the road, getting that 4 o'clock in the morning phone call, say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow morning? Let's go to Philly. Let's go to Florida, being around the brothers. And then a few years later, I ran for district director against Lee St. Leger, and I lost. And the reason that matters is because I still hadn't found a way to celebrate the things that we invested in as a brotherhood, as a chapter into myself. And so what the next step was, okay, I'm going to serve under Lee St. Leger. I was his director of conventions. I was actually his director of competitions and area director of two areas at the same time. And what I've realized as an older and older I've gotten and will take the next step is that sometimes as educated Black men, we push ourselves too hard to not celebrate the success. What is our true end goal in this whole process? Why are we doing all these things that we're doing? The reason that we do the things that we do is because we are obsessed with the opportunity to be viewed as a harder working brother. And so then I ran for district director again, and I won. And then I had the opportunity to help grow the District of New York. We had more college brothers at that time than any time. We were partners with everything. And in my time as district director, the most important thing I found was that I took time to celebrate other brothers, but I wouldn't allow anyone to celebrate me. So then came a point where it was out of the office of district director. I was serving as national parliamentarian. And then a brother came to me and said, you need to run for Eastern Regional Vice President. And I did. And I won. And unbeknownst to most brothers, is that I went to the bathroom and I cried that when I found out I won. And I'm not ashamed of that. because that was the first time I actually celebrated anything. It was tears of joy. And so in my journey in Alpha, what I've always come to realize is that, brothers, the reason I celebrate you is because I know you're not taking time to celebrate yourself. Because I know that I don't take time to celebrate myself as much as I should. It plays into our mental health, Brother Brown. It plays into the kind of brothers that we are. It plays into the way that we treat each other. Take time to not only celebrate your own successes, but celebrate the successes of those around you. I need to do a better job of celebrating my successes. And then I ran for general president. Brother Peters, I don't know what I was thinking, but what I did know was that this brotherhood needed a leader that cared about brothers first. And so I invested that energy into putting into brothers first. And from there, we helped move the organization forward. We won the election, and then moments of joy were attempted to be taken from me. They were trying to make cash withdrawals on my personal happiness. But what they realized that this is Chase Bank, and I'm going to collect my money one way or the other. And so, brothers, I want to just leave you with this most important message because I didn't want to be long. One, there will always be brothers out there that will try to steal your joy. Don't allow them to do that. Because for every brother that criticizes you, there are 3 that are behind you. 2, don't ever assume that that brother has celebrated the work that he's done. Pat a brother on the back. Because what you're doing here in Toastmasters is more than needed in Alpha Phi Alpha. And 3, don't ever be ashamed to cry in front of your brothers. What is the purpose of fraternity if we can't be our authentic selves in front of one another? That's how we can celebrate success. That is the goal, and I don't give you the story of my journey in Alpha in terms of leadership because it's some glamorous story. There's a lot more work that went into it than I can tell in a short few minutes. I lost my first assistant district director to suicide. I lost my ADP to a heart attack while he was asleep in his bed, while I was on the campaign trail running for general president. There are brothers that I've lost and now will continue to lose in this life, but the reality is I'm still going to celebrate them by celebrating the things that they put into me to allow me to be here today. And so, brothers, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Know that if no one tells you today, I love you, I appreciate you, and we will help move Alpha together. Thank you, my brothers.